Well, how we doing? We're going to try this. This is new to me. It's not new to me on Facebook Live, but it's new to me to YouTube Live. So this is my very first YouTube Live video, and I am going to display a 48 volt Meanwell at 62.5 amps. This here is a very nice unit, 220 volt the power supply. This is designed to run and power a LD MOS device, and as you can see, there's a few switches on here. I have the LCD display here. It represents your voltage, your current, amperage draw, and the power dissipation and energy in watt hours. So let's see if we can blow that up just a little bit. There we go. So I kind of get a little idea there. The voltage is set, as you can see, at 53.7 volts DC, and there's a little current draw on it. This second switch, we'll try to back this down here just a bit. Second switch is, first switch actually lights up that light there, and what it does, it turns on a cycle fan on top of this unit. This is basically a mobile cabinet that I'm using for this device, because the Meanwell power supplies are very large in size. So there's 4 fan holes that they're not being utilized. What's going on is I block the air holes off, put the fan grills over there to cover the holes. Keeps it clean. The fourth fan is actually functioning. 122 millimeter fan in here, and it's really quiet. You turn it on and off. Actually, you hear my furnace in the background. It's negative 14 degrees outside and 40 below zero with the wind chill, so it's very cold. But that unit there, it turns on the fan. These fan grills are a filter fan grill, so you can pop them off. And with that said, it's, we get these fan grades, and some guys put fan guards on their units, but what happens is when they put the fan guards on there, it's just like this. This is just plastic. It sucks in all the dust and the rest of the stuff. We're sucking air into these units and fresh air into them, and it exits out the back. I just bumped my head. It exits out the back of the unit. So with that said, the grills with the filter system in them, they're nice. Yes, they're inexpensive. I suggest you take and just run this through some warm water and blot it dry with a paper towel. And if you flatten them out and they don't fit in here properly, all you have to do is just take a pair of scissors and cut them to fit in there pretty snug. But you don't want it to overlap. But that's just a general maintenance deal on the fan grills. In this particular unit, if he messes one up, he has 3 others he could use. But they're inexpensive fan guards and grills and filters, so they're used for more than one thing. I built this for a ham operator out of California, and this is the second unit that I've done for him. This is basically the same amperage as the other unit that I built, but this particular unit, we decided to go with this meter here, and it's a really neat meter, and it's programmable. So there's a little button. You can kind of see that little button. You can push it in there. Let me see if we can, because he asked me to do a video on this. Let me see if I can find something to poke that with. And I'm not going to reset the voltage. I'm not going to reset the voltage on this. I'm just going to take and show you how you take and get into the settings on it, and we'll go from there. Then we'll start running some tests. So you push this in, you'll hold it in. It goes to set, and there you go. You're setting voltage right there. So this is your top number on your set voltage, and when that's flashing at any point, if you get to that digit, you go poke the button, you can change it. I don't want to change it because you got to it takes some time. You got to wait for it to flash, and then it reacts. The reaction of the button to the number is a little slow, and that's how that goes. This is a 100 amp meter and voltmeter. So this is 100 amp. They make these also in 50 amp as well. Same display, just a different size shunt that goes on the inside of your device to measure it. It is self-igniting, so basically you don't need an external power source to power this meter up. You're using the supplied voltage to power this meter, and it does all the work for you. So you don't need an external power supply like you've seen you could buy, let's say an LCD amp meter, and it requires an external source of what you're trying to measure. So when you get into that stuff, that means you got to have a little power supply. You can't use a power DC to DC inverter where, let's say, it shows 53 volts coming into that little step up or step down inverter. It won't work out for those other units. So I actually just use a small little power supply for those other ones. But this one here is really cool because it's self-igniting. So to get out of here, you basically just hold that button in, and then it'll say set or ready or something like that. You kind of got to be patient with it. There it is. Pass, that's what it says. So it brings us back to our main screen on here. You can poke it one time and actually shut the blue LCD screen off if it's bothering you. If you just woke up in the middle of the night and you don't want to see that on, just poke it again if you need it on. But this here, that's just a cycle fan, and it is extremely bright light. I think it's 15,000 lums. MM something or another, it says on the package. But we're going to run this, and this is truly not the proper pile load tester I want to use. This is a Harbor Freight load tester that's been blown up multiple times, and it's not one, it's two of them. I built this a long time ago, and I call this Blue 2.0. So the last power supply I built at 48 volts or 49 volts, he had me set it at. I forgot I had 12 volt fans on here, and I hooked it up, and they lasted for about a quarter of a second. They went poof. So those fans are gone. I have an AC fan on top that's still cycling some air in my pile load tester. But anyway, we're going to get on with this test, and let me see if I can run this up. Now, if I bump this power supply too far, it's actually just going to shut itself down. It meanwhile has a protection overload circuit built in this thing, and it's like, oh my god, I thought I broke it, honestly, at first. And I checked the fuses and everything was good. And I powered down, unplugged, and I checked the stuff, but it was all safe and good. Basically all you have to do is just shut the unit off and then power it back up. We'll probably trip it here. I'll probably try to make it trip, and we'll get it to turn back on. So let's see if we can raise this thing up. My load tester is going to arc and spark, and there's 62, 63 amps, holding 45 volts. There, see it shut down. I shut that down. I was just laying on it is what it is, so kind of did that one on purpose. But what we're doing with an amplifier or RF device, we're not putting that big load on it like, really. Did I blow the fuse? I may have. Well, that's not cool. Not good. Doing a live video and this thing may shut down on me. Hear it running, maybe something happened to my meter. Well, that's no good. Well, let's just see if it still works. Put an amp meter on it. These things happen, man, where you're doing these tests. Oh, I got my finger over it. Okay. Let's put a load test on real quick, see if I got amperage. Maybe something happened to the meter. Well, she shut down. Alright. Let's check out and see what happened here. Bear with me for a minute. I guess you can't pause this thing since it's live, so we're just going to set this up over here. Looks like everything's running. Bolts up there. Let me check the fuse. Sorry about this. Things happen. Set my phone back up. I'm trying to set this fuse here. Well, Houston, we got a problem. Maybe knock something out, not sure. Well, rotates device. Not sure exactly what happened with it. Plug her back in. See if it reset it. So something kicked out on me. It wasn't supposed to do all that, but it did. There we go. All right, we got her back up online. Well, things happen like that sometimes, folks, and you know what? That's the real world stuff right there. Doing live stream videos, anything can happen on the bench. I'm not embarrassed by it one bit. So if the guys want to get on here and start boasting and putting all a bunch of goofy comments on there, remind you, I can remove your post, but I'll probably leave them up there just so you can make yourself look goofy. But long story short, we ran that unit. We're going to run it again. It did kick out. It didn't reset like I wanted it to, but first time for everything. I've kicked it out before, and and she pretty much just came right back up. Try to get the load tester throwing a fit. Like I said, it's really not the proper load tester for this. That's a set on the voltage. You've seen that flash. What happens there when that voltmeter starts flashing, or that display starts flashing, that's the alarm that we set for our set voltage. If it gets below, I think I had it set at 42 volts, 43 volts, something like that. My load tester is really having a fit in there. I'm gonna have to clean that bad boy up here in a little bit. Try to get a load test on it. I got a fire over here. You hear it hissing and cussing at me. Alright. Yeah, load tester's really having a hard time, man. I'm going to have to try to look into a little different load tester before I can perform these tests a little better. This is really not the ideal test for this. Like I said, doing what I got, really kind of, there's 55, 60 amps, 49, 51, 36. So if you're talking on the radio, you know, we're putting carrier out there. If you're on AM or sideband, there's no carrier, and you just bring it up and you have a little bit of a load. My load tester does not want to be acting right here. Here, let me try something here, guys. Hold tight. Let me shut this unit down for a second. Let me shut this down. I'm going to take this load tester, and I'm really going to take and just push these plates together and see if I can't clean them up a bit. Got some burn marks on them, and once they start arcing like that, they kind of want to keep arcing. Let's see if we can see inside that. I can't see inside. I'm going to just crank this thing on. Crank it. It's a... What do you got going on here? I seen the thing and it went away. It's a beast or somebody posted something on there. Anyway, let's turn this thing back on. Maybe I cleaned some of that stuff off of that load tester. The load tester just give me a hard time. You see it's arcing and sparking in there. That kind of helped it. Not arcing as much. I pressed all the plates together. Now I got to get her to come back together again and make a contact. Oh, this thing just not want to act right. There, I'll get some amps up there. There's 50 amps. 62.2. See, I'm putting a massive load on this thing. You put an amplifier on here or an LD MOS unit, what's supposed to be ran on this thing properly, you're not going to have all this hissing and pumping and going on and all the rest of that stuff. But like I said, this is the first live stream on YouTube. And with that said, we're going to power this down. I'm going to show you the back end of it a little bit. I'm going to shut this fan off here. I got to unplug it. So I built this unit. It has a 10 gauge power cord on here. It's 220 volts. try to turn this around where you can see it. It's not a very heavy unit, fairly long just because of the unit. What I put on the back of it is 5/16 bolts on here, good isolation. Got a slew keeper, 20 amp fuse, which I need to label that. It'll be a 20 amp fuse in the back chassis. And then the air holes. That's how they come. I don't cut them like that. That's how these chassis come. But at the end of the day, we have a nice unit. It's going to a ham operator out in California, and he is going to enjoy this one as much as he's already enjoyed his second one. This is the second one, his first one, and I think he has some other ones that he's got going on. So, like I said, yeah, we had a little malfunctions. I truly don't have the proper pile tester to do these tests with, and I will invest in that, but we're able to kind of get the point across here. We can put a load on a power supply, and we make the volts drop, and we can load it up to where it's supposed to be, and then surpass that as well. So there you have it. First video, YouTube Live. And this was a 48 volt unit set at 53.7 volts, 62.5 amps, had a little bit of headroom, and then it fell, it shut down and went in protection. It did everything it was supposed to do. Meanwhile makes a very, very good switching module, and they're stackable. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff on them. You can take and turn the voltage up externally. I'll plug into the wires and etc. I don't know where you get all the jacks and stuff with that. The actual customer's been supplying me with his power supplies, and I just actually been doing the packaging on it, wiring it all up, making it all safe and etc. Now, when I turn this unit on, you hear a pretty good clunk in here. There is a 40 amp contactor relay in here. It's wired to 120 volts. So it's bringing 120 volts up to here, and then the 220 volts will come in through the contactor and feed the unit. So at any point, something goes wrong, 20 amp fuse will blow off in the back, and the Meanwell is still stock factory. Nothing's been modified in it whatsoever, for it will hold its warranty. So if you're into the Meanwells and the LD Moss units, I can build these, but I haven't been purchasing the actual the power supplies to do all from start to finish. So if someone calls me up, they say, hey, how much is this unit? I really can't give you a price. I can give you a price on packaging it. If you want to buy a unit from eBay or wherever you can get them from, cool. Pay your price, get a good deal. Overpay, I don't know. It's just kind of up to you guys when you go to that. But I'm gonna quit rambling on about this unit. It is what it is. Pretty straightforward. We didn't really have truly the proper test equipment, but it did its job. So anyway, thanks for viewing. Hopefully we'll see more of this in the future. I know that I'm leaning towards it day by day. So LD Moss may be coming out of my shop really soon. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful day.